Well, here we are on the road again. It's a Sunday, that's why the sun's still out. Sunday, heading from Melbourne to Sydney. We're around Wandong on the Hume Highway. So I've got a little way to go. We'll be going about 45 minutes. So what I wanted to talk about today was I got an email from Mark who asked the question, can I work driving on weekends? Now he has a full-time job during the week that he wants to keep for financial reasons, of course, but he wants to get into driving trucks because it's something he's wanted to do for quite a long time. Now he's possibly got the funds now to do it, because this wouldn't be cheap. You know, do it, you could probably class it as a hobby, but you want to drive trucks, it's not a problem. And the question is, well, the answer to that question is, oh, absolutely there's work on the weekends. No doubt about it. Whether you're driving rigids or whether you're going to drive, you have to get your heavy rigid first before you move up. So there'll be 12 months, and in that time you'll have to try and get experience, find a job as well. And that's probably the harder part than actually the driving part of it and getting your license. Now you've got to remember that a heavy rigid license probably costs you $1,000 to get. Heavy combination license could be up around $3,000 to $3,500, so you're looking at about $4,500 to move up to the next level. If you want to go to an MC license, time you move up to that, you're probably looking around $5,000, $5,500. Depends on which way you go and how high you want to go. Now you possibly don't have to go to the MC license, and you can still get work on the weekends. A lot of companies like to run their trailers on the weekends, do changeovers. I know Linfox used to run on the weekends, do changeovers. So he'll be coming from, Mark lives in Sydney, of course. So he'll be coming down to Tarcutta, or if he's going up towards Brisbane, probably around Kempsey. Good little runs. I'll be out for 10 hours. A good run that I had, I used to come up to Sydney on a weekend. Used to arrive on a Friday, have Friday night off, and I used to do a Dubbo run. So I'd run do the dog run for the road trains out to Dubbo. So you'd get a trailer, you'd run out to Dubbo, either bring back a full one, empty one, really didn't matter. Sometimes just come back bobtail. That's always a good run. There's a lot of companies that do road trains over to Perth, so you just got to find that. Jobs, country supermarket runs, you probably find something with that. Agencies are a good place for those sort of weekend work and that sort of work. Now a lot of companies actually do run Friday nights, especially changeovers. They will run Friday nights. So if you're working and you're finishing, you know, you probably have enough time to go home and have some sleep, because you can get ones that leave it. A lot of drivers won't leave late, so 11 to midnight, you might get it. Quite a few will run then, so get those late ones, have a few hours sleep when you get to your destination. If you're only driving 4 hours and you've had 6 hours sleep, it's not so bad. And most of the time when you're coming back on a Saturday, nothing's urgent. Just stipulate that you don't want the urgent loads to come back. So if you get tired, have a sleep while you're out there, have another 4 hours, 5 hours. Now you also mentioned that you might want to do trips to Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane, and you can absolutely do that as well. The thing you got to remember, and I've learned this from experience because I've actually worked weekends, But I had the contacts to get these positions because I used to work for them before, and when I come back on local, and then I got a supervisor's job. Didn't pay that well, so I subsidised it by working weekends, and I'd run now and then up to Sydney. I'd do a change over to Tarcutta, or I'd run to Adelaide. Now the thing you got to remember, a lot of these will go Friday night, and there was no hurry most of the time, and they knew that. They knew I worked during the week, so I had to go home, have some sleep, get back up, and then run about midnight, and then head off over to say Adelaide. Now the problem with that is I had to run over to Adelaide, but I had meeting a road train, so I've left at midnight and I've got over there, but this road train didn't actually turn up until about 6 o'clock at night. So the problem was I had to come back and start work on the Monday. So the sleep, I think I got about 5 hours sleep when I got back, so then I had to go back and do another 8 hours on my normal job. So that's the downside. Is you leave late on a Sunday. Most times you read over Saturday morning, you'd leave 10 hours later. Try and get 14, try and find a company you can have basic fatigue. You can actually do that as well. That way the break isn't so long. You don't have to have a 12-hour break. You can have a 11.5-hour break if you're doing Sydney, Melbourne. You only have to have a 10-hour break. So it's a bit of an advantage there. Now that's the downside, and I actually had one from Melbourne to Sydney and left to Friday night, Saturday morning I think it probably was, the time it got going. And then I was going to pick up a load that was getting loaded out Friday, or loaded Friday. I would have picked it up Saturday and come straight, well, sort of straight back. But the load got cancelled, and lucky enough they let me come back bobtail. They knew I had a full-time job during the week again, so and there's people that do that, come from all walks of life. There was an accountant that did it. There was a driver at Linfox that used to come and do on his time off. He was a Qantas pilot, but he loved to drive trucks. He worked his way up, and that's what he used to do on his time off. Used to change overs Friday night if he wasn't working. So that's things you can do. Probably treat it as a hobby. I mean, people spend a lot of money on hobbies, and eventually you'll possibly get your money back, where most hobbies you probably never get it back. If you might have a race car or something like that you might go to club meets on the weekend or something, you're going to spend money, you're not going to get the money back. We had a guy that worked and had a hobby as he had remote control helicopters, spent $4,000 on that hobby, so just class it as that, and you probably won't even think about the money. I know it's going to be an upfront payment, you have to have the money all at once when you get your license, but you treat it like that, and see how you go with that. Now, before you get your license, I'll probably start putting out, asking people that you might know, friends, and see if you can find contacts. Maybe someone can, just after you get your license, maybe they'll let you go for a run with them or something like that, just to get the experience up. So that's something you can look at, but there's definitely weekend work. Agencies are good. They usually got a lot of weekend work. Register with a few of those and see what you can come up with. But yeah, it's definitely out there. We had another driver that used to come. He used to take a week's holiday if you wanted to buy something, he'd accumulate the weeks. Instead of doing overtime, the company you work for used to accumulate the days. So instead of getting overtime, you get time off. So he'd accumulate a week, and then he'd come and drive for a week and either run to Brisbane or work all week. Big runs he tried to get, and he'd make his $1,000 take home, and if something he wanted to buy, well, he's got the $1,000 quite easy. So if you want to take a little bit of time off and just go for a bit of a drive as well, it's always a good thing to do. I've done that before, taken time off and went and worked for a week, or take it long weekends are probably another one. You can probably get a good run. You probably get your Brisbane or your Melbourne out of Sydney on a long weekend. They might do some quick hitches. So it's definitely out there. So if you want to have a go, Mark, I know you're 50. It's not too old. You know, get your license when you're 51. Do your heavy rigid 52. Get your HC, and you're pretty well set. Or you can go straight to MC if you want to. If you got the funds to do it and you feel the confidence, yeah, just go for the big one. Because you never know what you might get. You might even get a run where you go out to Dubbo, hook up a road train and go out to do a hay changeover or something like that. You never know what might come up and what your contacts are. Because I got a job like that. I went to Echuca, took a single trailer up there, hooked up another trailer, and then done a hay changeover, and then come back with another one, split the trailers up. Another guy was waiting there for me, and went back to Melbourne, and that was a weekend job. Didn't take too long. I used to run out of Melbourne up to Wagga as well. That was a quick 10-hour trip, just a day. You know, go up on a Saturday. Although they wanted you to leave late, that was the downside of it. I wanted to leave about 8 or 9 in the morning. They were thinking closer to the 5 o'clock at night. But I still used to do it, but it wasn't a bad run. But it paid, at that time. I was going back a while now. You take home a couple $100, so there was a bit of spending money there. So for that, Mark, yeah, go for it. You may as well. You'll probably find if you can't get a job and you decide, I got my heavy rigid license, I don't want to do it no more, you'll probably find your friends that want you to help them move, because you've got the license to hire the bigger truck, so they'll probably want you to help you move on the weekends and things like that when they're moving house. Just remember that. Everyone knows you've got a license, so they'll probably want to use you. But that's fine. Alright then, I'll answer some other questions as we go along the road. It's only 5 o'clock, the sun's not going down for another hour and a half possibly, so we'll answer some more questions as we move on down the road. I had another question from Augustine, who lives in Brisbane. Now he wanted to know, he just got his HR license and he's looking to get into driving, and he can't find a job because everybody wants 2 years experience. Now that's a problem in Australia. There is no training to get a job. Now you can understand there's not much of a margin, especially in interstate work, but he's just looking for local work. Now maybe someone who lives around the 8 Mile Plain area. Now I'm not familiar with that suburb because I don't know a lot of suburbs in Brisbane, just the main ones where all the trucking companies are. Someone might know of a company that might be prepared to put on a heavy, rigid driver, and possibly doesn't matter what you actually do. All you want is experience. Now that's a problem, trying to get that experience. Now I was lucky that how I got my first driving job was actually a warehouse job that went with it, and I was experienced in the warehousing, picking orders, and that's another thing they were looking at. The driving was just a part of it. When you weren't driving, you do order picking for the next day's delivery, or when you come back, sometimes you just do it anyway and get your orders ready for the next day. Now we used to deliver to the stores, so at times you get back quickly if it wasn't a busy season, so you'd have a bit of time. And that's how I got my first driving job, because I knew the other part of the position that come with it. So now maybe something you should look at as well. Whatever you're doing now, or whatever you've done in the past, you might have experience with, and see if that's attached to it. You might have done some labouring work, and there might be a driver labourer. One of the big things was party hire, always looking for drivers that could do some labouring work where they're setting up marquees and things like that. So you might get a little bit of experience, probably a lot more of the setting up the marquees than driving, but it could be something to think about as well. Warehouse with a delivery driver attached to it as well, that could be another avenue if you happen to be experienced in that. But even even sales, customer sales, dealing with customers. We actually found a job. Well, I was talking to a guy that had a job, and the main thing was sales, because he used to deliver, now I forget what it was, I'm pretty sure it was Smith's Chips, but the main thing was being nice to the customers, and it wasn't so much about the truck driving. So they're looking for someone that had a bit of a personality and they could drive and collect money as well. I think they were collecting money as well at that time. It's going back for quite a few years now. So they even look at things like that, where you might have experience in doing something else, and maybe they'll give you a bit of a go. Now, not too many companies want to give you a go. I know there's a company in Brisbane that I read about not so long ago that actually does go out and train their drivers. And if anyone can think of that company, it'd be good. But off my head, I can't remember actually seeing it either. Which would be great. Now, companies won't put another driver in a truck and pay two drivers to do the same job, maybe because not enough margin in it. Maybe they're going to lose money if they do that. I'm going to pay two drivers to get some training. Now, if you go out and you start a new job, they'll send you out for a couple of days with someone just to learn the job. But as in trying to get experience, it's a little bit difficult. I don't know of anyone interstate that'll actually put two drivers on and one does training. I've had driver trainers come with me when I worked at Linfox, and they'd come with me twice in the time I was there. Perhaps I didn't go drive the first time, so they sent another one out. He actually fell asleep on the way home, so I must have been doing alright. Now that's the only time, and they never really were training me because I knew how to drive, so, well, pretended I did anyway. So that's a problem. Now it's not like the US where you go out with another driver for 4, 8 weeks or whatever it takes. It just doesn't happen in Australia. It should happen, but it doesn't. They all want experience, but how do you get experience if they won't let you have a go? So it's a bit hard. Unless you know somebody, maybe they'll let you drive, I don't know, but probably doesn't happen either. And the problem with Australia is a lot of the drivers won't let another driver or another person in their truck. So it makes it a bit hard. I mean, I have Linda come with me, so if I didn't have anyone come with me, I wouldn't have a problem with having someone. I wouldn't mind sitting in the passenger seat while someone else drove. No, not a problem at all. But a lot of the older drivers, the older drivers are probably the best teachers, they don't want to drive with someone else in the truck. So it makes it a little bit hard. And when you're not compatible, I suppose, with one smokes and the other one doesn't, and things like that. So you really got to match your drivers up if you're going to do the training side of it. Really got to match your drivers up. Some get a bit grumpy, especially if you do the wrong thing. So that's all I can really suggest to you. Unless someone, if we put anyone that might be in Brisbane that might know of a company's prepared to give someone a go, maybe you can just put something in the comments and we'll see what we can do. And that means that's for every state as well. If anyone knows of any companies that might put drivers on, I know Star Trek was training there for a while. Don't know if they still do, but they would train drivers to do deliveries. So that might be an option as well. Just contact them and see if they still do that. Most of the big companies want experience. Now there is one thing, if you're a female, I know in Albury with Wodonga they had a training session with Linfox, and that would actually get you your license. So if you need a heavy rigid license, that's what you'd start at. If you had a heavy rigid license, well, they'd actually move you up to the heavy combination license. Now they done it once, and there was 10 drivers that went through there, female drivers, and they all passed, and then they go work for Linfox, obviously. And but apparently they're going to do it again, and this program went pretty well, so they're going to put do some more drivers training for females. Also Hanson down in Melbourne, I'm not sure they do it in other states. Hanson does tippers, concrete. They actually done the same thing. They would train, they had an intake of female trainees. Actually get you your license as well, train you and pay for your license. So they're good schemes, and there should be more of them. There was another company, I just can't think of it now, that actually trained as well, whatever license you had. Smaller trucks, they train you there. If you had the bigger license, well, they train you on that one. And that was a tipping company as well. So if anyone hears of anything like that, just let us know, and we'll put it out there. And something I did see, but I didn't see it until too late, so I couldn't tell anybody, but it was actually a heavy rigid interstate driver they wanted, from Melbourne to Sydney, and it was in the local area where I am on the western suburbs. And they actually drive up to Sydney and put you in a motel while they unload and reload your truck. So now that I didn't see that job until about 3 weeks or 4 weeks after it was actually advertised. So if anyone knows of any training coming up or any positions that might be in the Brisbane area, yeah, just put something in the comments and we'll get it out there and see if we can help some new drivers out. Now I also had a question about how long does it take to get a truck licence in Australia? Now to actually get a licence, they teach you to get your licence. Now they don't train you to drive a truck, they teach you to get your licence. And that's like cars now as well. Now you can go get a licence, it takes you 8 hours. Doesn't take very long at all. You got to have that heavy rigid license, or you can go for a medium rigid license or a light rigid license, doesn't matter. Depending on what you want to drive and how far you want to go up. You have to move up, you have to have a heavy rigid license. If you want to go straight to MC after that, multi-combination. But it takes 8 hours to actually get your license. Hi guys, we made it up to Sydney. Arrived here about 2:30 AM, parked the truck. Absolutely beautiful winter's morning, still morning. It's about 11 o'clock. 11 AM of course, not PM. Otherwise it'd be dark. I just thought I'd go for a bit of a walk through the park, and so you might get a little bit of wind coming through this microphone there. I just want to end this video on a comment that was made about me showing the indicators on the truck. Now, I was probably breaking the law there, which I'm sure David, who made the comment, knows about the law. Not disputing that. Now that's just a common courtesy that I do. It's just a courtesy thing to say thank you. I think it's a real big safety issue. But you know, you've got to show a little bit of courtesy from time to time. It's just not existent anymore. It doesn't happen very often at all. Now, there's probably a lot of laws that get broken every day. One of the ones is driving in the right-hand lane. I get a lot of comments about that. Tailgating is another one. Now, if you want to talk about, you know, what you see about laws and getting broken, you've also got freeways 4 lanes wide. I think everyone's in that misconception that the far right lane is the one you're supposed to stay out of. It's actually not the case. It's actually, you should be driving in the left-hand lane all the time, like the far left. So the other 3 lanes should be clear unless you're overtaking. Now that doesn't happen, as we know. There's not really too much you can do about that, I guess. It wouldn't make too much sense to actually do that. He also mentioned about being a professional driver, and that's one thing I never claimed to be, and that's a professional driver. I don't even know what a professional driver might be. I've been driving about 27, 28 years. Not sure that makes me professional or not. What does it? Does a university course make you professional? I don't know. And yeah, I'm not sure. But it's the way it is, I guess. So you know, someone who's had 2 years experience doesn't mean they're not many better than what they are. I guess that term professional driver comes, you know, truck drivers, taxi drivers, maybe courier drivers, who knows, but yeah, I'm not one of them. If you drive a forklift, does that make you, if you've had years of experience, does it make you a professional driver? I don't know. I don't think so. It's just experience, isn't it? But that's just the way it is. So I thought I'd just make that comment. I mean, there's so many laws get broken every day. Speeding, see it every day on the road. Speeding, going through red lights, cutting people off, probably not. Going across double lines when you're going around bikes and things like that. Sometimes you've got to do it. You know, courtesy is when you let someone in who's coming onto a freeway from an on-ramp. That's courtesy. They don't have to let them in, you can keep going. But you let them in, it's called courtesy. The law is they have to slow down for you. So, just be nice. Blowing the horn is another one too. It's a safety device, so shouldn't be using aggression. But that's just the way it is. So I just want to end this video on this. David might make another comment back. I didn't start these videos to, you know, just a bit of fun. Maybe show people what I do and whether they want to get into truck driving. And I'll help where I can. Make some comments. Help where I can. Give people in the industry if they want to get into it. It's no big deal. I don't have to make them. Just something I like to do. But it's just the way it is. So I'll end this video here, but I actually came across something when I was walking in this park. It's a burnt out motorcycle. And I don't know where this has maybe been stolen. Maybe someone can tell me what sort of bike it is. Looks like it had a bit of it's a pretty fancy bike actually. I'm not into bikes, I don't know anything about them, but obviously stolen, crashed, and then burnt. At the time it looked like a pretty good bike, so I don't know what it is. I can't see a brand on it, so I'm not sure what it is. Maybe someone's dumped it. They didn't want it anymore. Sydney parks, you know, people dump things. Maybe someone can tell me what it is. Looks pretty cool. So we're going to head back now and get some more sleep before we go back on the road. And do some more videos, hopefully answer some more questions, hopefully help some people now and then along the way. Yeah, maybe help some people on the way, answer some questions. Don't always take what I say, and I always say that, don't always take what I say to exactly the truth. You know, what I do is probably different to what everyone else does. We all do it different. It's fair enough. We all have different ways of doing things. That's what makes, if we all had the same ideas, we'd be all be a boring world, wouldn't it? So just something, if you don't want to, if you don't like what I say or don't like the videos, don't watch them. And I try to make a little bit of entertainment, I guess. But, some people have different ideas. I watch a lot of other videos. Someone was mentioned. I mentioned Isaac from Olympia. I like his videos. I watch a few of them. I don't get enough time to watch them all of them, but when I get the time, I'll watch a couple of his videos to try and catch up. Indiana Jack, someone mentioned, really good videos as well. Nice guy, knows what he's talking about. Just get through these trees here. And someone mentioned a few others. Just check those videos out. Everyone's mentioning it's, you know, if they like them, you'll probably like them too if you're into trucking. Also watch a lot of other different things. I don't just watch trucking videos. But, it's just the way it is. Right, we're going to head back to the truck, have a drink, a bit more relaxing, and get some sleep. We're ready for tonight. Around 8:30 should be leaving. Have some dinner as well. Got a microwave in the truck, of course, so I don't have to buy food. But, every little bit helps save a bit of money. It's really good. Save money where you can. Spend it on something else. New cameras or something like that. Maybe a hobby you want to get into. Alright, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. If you want to know anything, I'll try and help you. If you see me breaking the law again, point it out to me. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it, but you can point it out. And just remember to be a little bit courteous on the road. So it goes a long way. Try and help out other drivers and things. So. Alright, I'll leave it there. Thanks guys for watching. And I'll talk to you soon. Now, I said I was going to end the video there, but one thing, I'm walking up a hill and it's very tiring, but out of breath. The reason for that, I'm unfit. So if you're driving trucks, a little tip, get some exercise, guys. You know, it's you sit in the truck for long hours at a time and get out and walk, do some exercise. It goes a long way to being healthy. Eat healthy if you can. I don't. I eat a lot of junk. Mainly let's keep awake. I should be eating apples, they're really good, keeping awake. Fruit, nuts. Little side note, see. It's fantastic. Nuts and things like dried fruits, good for staying awake. Rather than eat all the junk food. Or your sweet stuff, not good for you. Sweets probably make you more tired, sweet stuff, so try and avoid it. And someone actually asked me that the way, what, you know, he has trouble staying awake for long periods of time. But another thing is find someone to talk to on the phone, but hands free, of course. Don't touch your phone.